Thank you for tuning in to the Swish Masters Podcast, and of course, thanks to our sponsor, SS96. Use the promo code Swish Masters. That's right, Swish Masters, the name of the podcast, for 15% off today on all merch at ss96.net. Also, be sure to follow Straight Stoner as well as Xzequtive Productions on all socials. See you soon, and thank you so much for tuning into the podcast.
Welcome back to the Swish Masters Podcast. Welcome back. I'm your co-host, QtheGuru.
What up, and welcome in. Zay, the executive producer here. What's happening, Q?
What's happening, Zay? Long time, man. It's been a long time. We'll be back. Thank y'all for y'all's patience. A lot of NBA, a lot of basketball, a lot of news. So we're gonna debut a new segment, try to get through most of it, called Fastbreak. Me and Zay gonna hit on topic and pass the topic to the next person. So one big piece of news that happened while we were out: Quinn Snyder supporting signed a 5-year contract with the Atlanta Hawks. Zay, will Quinn Snyder really make an impact for the Hawks?
Yes. In the future, I think that this season is a little bit too late to salvage, but next year, with them making probably a few moves and free agency and maybe some trades, whatever, having a fresh start with under Quinn Snyder, they're going to be better. They're going to be back in the playoff run at least, and maybe gearing up to make a deep playoff run. So I do think that it's a good hire. It's a good impact, and they needed a new energy in that locker room. So it's a good move by the Hawks. In other news, we also, in these past couple of weeks, man, it's been crazy, but we got a lot of injuries, a lot of big injuries, man. Kevin Durant being one of them. Recently just came back and made his debut with the Suns. Out for the home debut and slips and twists the ankle. What are your thoughts on KD's injury, how it happened, and how it impacts the Suns, man? Wow.
Yeah, it's something. The only thing too is his home debut. The fans are right over to see him. They got the fresh jerseys, and KD injures himself like that. It's tough. I think we know KD is, I want to say, injury prone, because he's bounced back in injuries. So I don't want to say he's just injury prone, but it's something to keep a lookout for. As far as the Suns' impact, if KD is not 100% ready to go by the time playoffs start, I think you consider the Suns not a finals team for sure. Before, if KD is fully healthy, yeah, finals favorite for sure. But KD's out, and then you gotta build the stamina back up, right? Get to the conditioning again, and then it's a brand new team. Get that dynamics working. It's less time to do all those things and to build the chemistry. So this year, I would kind of say it's an out for the Suns. Hopefully, get everyone healthy and make a solid run next year. Because the West is just too tight. It's so tight.
It's tough out there, man.
It's real tough. And you mentioned injuries. Another injury happened in the West too. PG suffered a hyperextended knee. It seems like he'll be out for some time, at least a couple weeks. So Zay, what do you think of Paul George's impact on the Clippers?
This is a huge blow to the Clippers. Paul George being the type of player that he is, having an impact on offense, defense, just overall team morale. It's going to be very hard for them. They already were kind of in a bad spot as far as their, ranking in the West, and it's gotten tougher. On top of now having a lot of new pieces with Russell Westbrook, with Bones Highland, with Eric Gordon, all these new pieces that they've traded for and kind of made a shift and made a team swap basically, and now your second best player goes down like this, and you're already kind of struggling. Not that they're a bad team. They need that time to gel, and he's going out. It's and you're trying to make a deep playoff run. So it's I feel like it's going to be a big blow to their season. I think that they still have some, they can hold on and just kind of corral it together for the next couple weeks. They'll be okay, but I think it's a huge loss for them. So we'll see. Another big injury, man. This one's sad to me. Lonzo Ball already has been out this entire season. Found out he has to have another surgery. Already out for since January of last year. What do you think about this for Lonzo going forward?
It's tough. Now he's out for the rest of the season. Ball is a really good addition to what the Bulls are trying to do. Just that we haven't really seen that potential because of his absence. This injury is very concerning, but they're very hopeful that after this procedure is done, it'll be more stable. So, honestly, prayers and well wishes to Lonzo Ball. I pray he gets healthy so we can see him on the court again. But as far as like impact on the Bulls, they've been dealing with this situation the whole season. So
Yep.
It doesn't really move the needle at all, honestly, because they've been dealing with it the whole time. So,
Sure.
yeah. So those are a lot of injuries. Recently, Jaylen Brown spoke on the trade rumors that happened. You know, KD was suspected of going to potentially the Celtics, and Jaylen Brown's name was brought up in the trade rumors, right? And Jaylen spoke about that whole thing. And based on his comments, I'm not going to say verbatim, but paraphrasing here, Jaylen Brown just wants to be somewhere where he said he wants to be appreciated, right? So it leads people to think, Zay, question, do you foresee Jaylen Brown being a future Celtic, or do you see him going somewhere else?
It's hard to say honestly, but I think that they've shown that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum work together. They just got to the finals. So I don't see why that would change. I feel like they have a good relationship. They're still one of the top teams in the East. They still have a chance for it. So I feel like they shouldn't. But when your name is brought up constantly in trade rumors and you see these things happening and you know, especially in today's business in the NBA, anybody is up on the table at this point. You can be on the block. So I don't knock him for asking and you know, just trying to make sure he understands the situation, because you never know what a team might do. A lot of times these guys get traded and find out in warm-ups, you know. So I could see him continuing to be in talks, especially somebody that the Celtics really like or whatever happens. But I'm not gonna say for sure, but I could see him finishing his career elsewhere. So it's possible. It is possible. We'll see.
We all know Michael Jordan speaks. A lot of people consider him the greatest player of all time. Not so much as GM. So it's kind of news here that he's considering to sell his $1.7 billion franchise stake in the Hornets. So, yeah, what are your thoughts about MJ potentially selling the Hornets?
Gotta make a business decision here, man. The Hornets have, during his 10 years as majority owner, have not been very good. I mean, he's Michael Jordan. He's won at the highest of heights, and the Hornets have barely made the playoffs. And, you know, the past, I don't know, my entire lifespan I can recall. So I don't blame him. It's not a bad idea. And maybe, you know, maybe that change can spark something in the Hornets organization. We'll see. but he's still MJ on the court. Just ownership and GM wise, executive wise, it doesn't always translate. So
They want to mention that MJ really is the only black owner though, and I would hope that he still has some type of. No, he's the only black majority owner. You know, Shaq has a stake in some things, D Wade has a stake in some things, but it's different when you're majority owner. So I just want to make sure to mention that too, because we still want that. We want diversity, so
representation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
But yeah, track record as GM is definitely trash though. So
Not the best.
no, it's not the best. Stephen A. commented on they may have to do something with his personality and mindset, whereas hiring the best people to do the job instead of just taking things on for yourself. So, hiring the best GM, hiring the best, coach for this, and personnel, basically, personnel decisions.
For sure.
Who's the best person that can run those things, right? So yeah. And we'll end our segment on the news that kind of really went viral for the past couple of weeks too. And player Ja Morant, you all are familiar with the story by now. He was seen on social media doing things that the NBA viewed as negative. He has been criticized by players and media all around. We'll give our quick thoughts and takes on it. Ja performed for the first time last night. Coming off the bench against the Rockets. He has done a sit-down interview with Jalen Rose. So yeah, let's get your thoughts first. What are your thoughts on the whole Ja Morant situation, and how does that impact the Grizzlies?
I think that the Grizzlies, for the most part, handled it pretty well. Overall, the situation was not a good look, obviously, and they did their part to make sure that Ja got the help that he needed to be able to understand the magnitude of his decisions, his off the court activity as well as on the court makes a difference, and people are paying attention to it. So you have to be careful about the image you portray when you're a personality like Ja Morant. Like, he's NBA All-Star, and I get it, everyone has a life, but when you've reached this level of fame and in some cases notoriety, your actions speak for you, even when you may think it's something small. And I feel like Ja understands that. I feel like the NBA did their part to make sure that he understood it. And overall, like, his suspension, I think made sense. I don't think I saw a lot of people saying it should have been longer, and I think that at least 8 games. He has done all these public interviews. He's seeming to understand it now. So I think that they handled it well, and hopefully he can be able to move forward and understand how to operate as a business person, because it's a business decision at the end of the day to make sure that you aren't highlighted in the wrong way. So
one thing I will say though is part of the process with Ja was he checked himself into like a rehab counseling center. I think the main criticism that it was a really, really quick turnaround. Some people, such as Jay Williams, think that seems very quick, which is a valid opinion. So it leads you to think, is this really going to be changed behavior? However, I would like to also say that the NBA has seen, it's not the same situation, but I want to bring up Kyrie Irving's situation as well, who people were calling for certain things to happen because they wanted to see the change behavior first before allowing Kyrie back, right?
Yeah.
So, in here, I think people want to see the change behavior first as well from Ja, and then allow Ja to come back. So I think that's where some of the criticism lies. Overall, I think it's a valid opinion, such as some people have said, such as Stephen A, that this was David Stern, Ja would have been out of the season for sure. Just a valid opinion. David Stern is literally more of a stern person as a commissioner. Adam Silver is more of a player friendly, and he waited. And yeah, overall, I think we'll know for sure how it goes based on if anything else happens. If there's if there's any other offseason drama or anything, like Ja's spotlight is so heavy now because of all this.
Yeah, he's gonna have
anything
to move.
he has to move very carefully.
Yeah.
If it's that means really monitoring who hangs around and all these things. So I don't want to tell a person what to do and how they want to manage their stuff because he's his own person. But if he wants to get the full bag and reach the full potential of everything, he really needs to monitor who he has around him and how to operate. You know, we gotta check all that. You gotta check all that. So
For sure. You brought up a good point about the situation with Kyrie this past season, or I guess seasons, but I think a part of the reasoning behind Ja's return being, and I understand that, like, obviously he checked into a facility for help, and
it was volunteer too, by the way. I want to make sure I make that clear. He voluntarily did that. It wasn't ordered or commissioned by anyone, not for no reasons or anything.
Yeah.
And it was a volunteer for him to step away too, so that was good. Yeah.
I think it shows maturity, and I think Ja and the league kind of understand how this can play out. I feel like with Kyrie Irving, with his situation earlier, getting suspended and everything that unfolded afterwards, there was a little bit more controversy not because of like a action specifically. It's more so of what he believed. When Ja's visual action was a little bit different. And I feel like they understood that there was some issues with Kyrie's whole like stipulation, make sure you do this, and then you can come back. And I don't think they wanted the type of backlash. So I feel like that's probably why, and like you said, Adam Silver is a little more open to discussion and player friendly and trying to make sure that it's a partnership. It's not just like leader, follow me, whatever. But, and I respect that. I just think that the situation as it is a little bit different. And that's why, like, and they saw how it played out with another player with Kyrie Irving. So I feel like they kind of wanted to find a balance, even though, he probably should have been out longer, if you want to put it that way. If certain action, certain conduct is how you define this guy, but I think it's just kind of progressive to be able to look at the situation, analyze it, look at his actions on his own, voluntarily checking into a rehab facility, and just because like we hear about this part of it, he's probably gonna be constantly doing it. Like, therapy is a constant thing. It's a lot of work that you have to do behind closed doors and continue to do. So I don't think it's gonna be like he just did like a couple sessions and now he's back. I think he's gonna be. I hope he's continuing to go, because I feel like I know the benefits of therapy, going to it and doing the work. So hopefully he can do the same, and hopefully the league can aid him in any type of way to be able to be the best version of himself on and off the court.
Yeah, I want to be clear too. Like, Yeah, you're right. The situations between Kyrie and Ja are totally two different things. Totally different levels of severity, you know. So I think also a difference between the responses though is one, yeah, the degree of the severity, right? Two, the initial reaction or response to it. Kyrie's initial response was more closed-minded, right?
Yep.
Whereas Jaws was more open to reflect and to do these things. And I'm take myself out. I'm gonna out the game. I'm gonna do this. You know, so I think that's also worthwhile to note.
Yep.
About this as well. Again, I think we were both on the same page. Like to really see the fruits of it will just depends on how the rest of the season goes. And the Grizzlies kind of treaded water for the most part. They did lose some games they should have won, but it's hard to win those games without your star player, your franchise player. So
I want to say that one of those games was against Miami. So yes.
Yeah. And I would say this too. This could also be a positive thing for the Grizzlies. Ja is more well rested. Tim Legler had a great point that this is more rest for Ja. He has fresher legs because of this. So that was also a valid point for legs. So yeah, we'll see how it depends on how the Grizzlies finish out their season, and will they not let it be a distraction?
Yeah.
Despite the other distractions they have on the team already, the Dillon Brooks stuff. But they seem to be responding to that well too. You know, backing up your teammate. You know, so.
I mean, yeah. What is your take on Dillon Brooks?
Dillon Brooks.
He's interesting.
Yeah, there's a several angles to approach this. There's the whole him and Draymond Green thing. This man has paid over 200 something grand in fines, and Dillon Brooks is like, it's just paper, it's fine. This dude's attitude. I like it, but at the same time, man, you just really make yourself out to be like a villain here. He's really embracing the role. And I like that. You need more villains in the NBA, you know.
He's very animated to me.
He is. He is. Dillon Brooks really is. And when you do that, you open yourself up to that criticism though, when you do that. It's just like Draymond has his own podcast and medium, so he's going off on Dillon Brooks. So, and Kyrie, did you see this?
The jersey?
The jersey swap. well, not really a jersey swap.
The jersey the jersey sale, I guess. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
oh, you know, yeah, that was that's funny. I don't know, man. I get it. Like, you have to have an edge and be the bad guy, whatever. Like, we're, the Grizzlies, they want all the smoke, they run up the chimney. He's embracing that very, very much so, but it comes to a point where it's like, all right, man, really? Like, this is becoming, to me, you're doing a little bit extra now. Yeah. Sometimes the best way to speak is to let your game speak for you. But I get it, it's entertainment at the end of the day. But
yeah, and to be fair, he did show up against the Warriors the next time they met up, so he showed up.
Makes it interesting.
It does. It adds more rivalry to the league, and we like to see those things. We like to see the animosity. I'm okay with people being like, I don't like you. I'm okay with that. It's more realistic.
That's why I like. That's why I respect guys like that. I respect like Kevin Garnett.
Yes.
Mad talker. You know what I mean? But he also was just
he backed it up. He backed it up. Yeah.
So I respect that. I
Yeah,
like that. I feel like that we've gotten away from that type of like interaction between players. We don't.
yeah,
It's very much a clean game for the most part, you know. So to have that little bit of extra behind it, a little motivation when
yeah.
team is nice to see and it's fun. So
Who's a like worst trash talker right now in the NBA? Like,
the worst trash talker
I
or
mean, you
like
know what I mean? Like, who talks the
uh,
most trash in the NBA, basically?
uh I mean Dylan Brooks is probably like I feel like
He's making a name for himself now
I feel like
in this.
Draymond being you know being a bigger name that he's talking trash to like highlighted it, but I feel like he talks to everyone.
Yeah,
Um
Beverly comes to mind for some reason.
Beverly definitely talks a lot. Yeah,
Oh
Patrick.
man, the dude called Chris Paul the cone.
Oh yeah.
All
He also has a podcast, so he be on there talking. Yeah. Pat Bev. I think Pat. I don't even think Pat Bev just like trash talks. I think he just like lets you know he's here, that he doesn't like you.
Yeah, he just has that intensity as a player.
I think he has like exudes super duper confidence in himself, and
Yes.
he like let other people he's going up against know. That's what I feel like, and he just kind of like plays into that.
Yeah. But the fact that we don't know, that kind of says, that just says things about the state of the NBA today. Because we talking about like 80s, 90s, you know who the trash talkers were. Because the players told you. They said it outright in the interviews and everything.
Yep.
You know? So, just today's
Yeah.
NBA, we don't really get that anymore. So, it's tough.
It's interesting, but we have a large demographic, large age group, so I'm assuming that the league probably wants to, keep it as PG as they can. But
Yeah.
it makes it interesting for us.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about I've watched a lot of podcasts and like some players that I never like expected to be trash talkers. I've heard they have a certain way. They don't trash talk in a traditional sense, but they talk. You know what I mean? Like Tim Duncan was one of the people that was brought up. He's like he just like smiles and laughs at you when you talk trash, and he goes out and would do like bank shot every time. Like he just would, yeah, like that one or something. It's just like
I
certain people.
got
I'm
you.
like Kawhi
Yeah.
Leonard talk apparently, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Man. You mentioned Kawhi Leonard. That leads to like another topic that we need to talk about too. So Kawhi literally got a tech the other like last night. It was against OKC. Um, for nothing much in my opinion. Like he didn't really do anything. He was like, because that was clearly a foul, by the way, and the ref missed the call. But this is Kawhi Leonard we're talking about. One of the most quietest dudes in the NBA. Like no reaction ever. We make memes about this dude because of that.
yeah,
Put together this dude a tech. And not only that, after the fact, Terrence Mann objected to Kawhi receiving the tech, and he got 2 techs in a row and got ejected. Now the NBA rescinded one of those techs, so that's good. That also meant that ref made a mistake to me.
absolutely.
And this leads me to another thing real quick too. The Mavericks apparently against Golden State was third quarter. The Mavs understood that they were going to get the ball. Now, Mark Cuban tweeted about all this, so you can see this yourself. This is why the Mavs were on the other side of the court, right? Because they believed they were going to receive the ball. However, one of the refs apparently changed their mind, and this ref gave the ball to the Warriors, and the Warriors scored very easily. I would also like to say that the announcer in the arena, according to Mark Cuban, the announcing arena also said it was gonna be Mavs ball. The PA announcer said it, so it was like it was understood that it was gonna be the Mavs ball after that timeout was done. So
on the baseline,
and apparently the ref didn't fail to communicate, and that's how the Warriors got to use the score. And the reason why this is so controversial right now is because guess how many points the Mavs lost by? Yes,
just 2.
just 2. So of course, the game is more involved in that, but when something like that happens, it's tough. And so now as a result of it, the Mavs are protesting against and filing a grievance against the refs in that game. And I don't know what could happen as a result of this. I've never seen this happen before in my lifetime. Well, are you gonna replay the game from like that timeout? Like, can you really fit that in your schedule? Are you gonna like try to get the Warriors to like? Are you gonna make that a tie? And if that's a tie, the West is so tight already. Yeah, the West is tight already. You can't, how would they be determined? So it's like, I don't know, but I think the Mavs do have a point to file a grievance, because that is kind of ridiculous if that's true. And this is all alleged.
The refs have had an interesting season for sure. Like,
they have missing calls, man.
Yeah,
like blatant calls.
Yeah, and it's getting to a point where it's been so bad with some of these calls as being terrible calls or missing them completely. The whole thing with the Mavs ball, where the Warriors got the ball and it's them under the basket by themselves. Kevin Looney, easy dunk. It's bad when obviously the NBA doesn't want players to say certain things, or they're finding players for what they say in the media, or it's bad when multiple guys are coming out and saying how the refs have made mistakes, criticizing the refs, knowing the fines, knowing the consequences of that, but seeing, and everybody just in general as a fan, just like is on this case with the refs. Like, Fred VanVleet went off on the refs. Trae Young went off on the refs in post game conferences, and you see these type of things happen. Like the LeBron no call against the Celtics. I looked at that video earlier today. Tatum smacked him, and then when they ducked under and Tatum got the foul call, I'm like, that was pretty bad. It's been some blatant ones that have been. I get it. They're human and they can't catch every single thing. I'm not saying they have to call a perfect game by any means, but there are some that are very one-sided sometimes. And then there are just crazy miscommunications and mistakes like we just saw in Dallas, which is insane to think about. But the refs have had some struggles this year for sure. And a lot of players are calling for there to be action against the refs, to be held accountable, to be fined for their mistakes, to be reviewed, instead of just getting we missed it, and that's the end of it,
Yeah, what's the point of that transparency if you're not going to try to really make changes to, correct it? Going back to that Lakers and Celtics game, they admitted to the mistakes they made in the last minute report. But the game's over. You're not going to do anything to change the result, right? Because if they made that call, you can argue the Lakers would have won that game.
Yeah,
you can make that argument because it's literally the end of the game, and that's the direct impact on the result.
Yeah,
and yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I mean, I get of course you want feedback, you want to understand what happened, but this is not like an app that you can go in and fix a bug and change something. This is real time happening, and it's nothing you can do after that result. It is now Oh.
My
So
thing is though, we got replay, slow mo, all this technology, and even everyone saw it in the arena, but you don't make change, or you don't over to the cut. It's getting bad out here, and when you get caught up in your feelings about, and you call a tech for no reason, that can change the flow of the game. Like Fred VanVleet said, like it can change the flow of the game, the morale of the game. You don't want them. These are players. This is a game that's emotional, man.
absolutely.
So it's like,
you remember that video? Or no, this is a real thing. I was thinking about the movie when he got thrown out the game. But you remember when Rasheed Wallace was in the league? He was with early days Trailblazers. Rasheed just looked at the ref. Tech. Didn't say a word. Just stared at him. Tech. I'm like, and it's getting to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard got a tech. What is happening right now?
Man, get besides y'all selves, man. Like this is just, it's ridiculous. The league just needs to start openly doing something to announce that these refs are being, like, I won't say punished, but reprimanded somehow. You know, there are consequences to their actions.
Yeah. Kawhi Leonard, the quietest man on earth, the quietest, most private player ever, got a tech for questioning a call. It's getting to a point, man, where if the refs don't allow the emotion of the game and I guess physically in real time catch up to the calls, we have the technology, the cameras, the audio equipment to be able to have a replay center. There's going to be a fourth ref in virtual that's going to just be in the replay center that can possibly overturn a call or something. I feel like that's where the league is going to go, especially with how many complaints there have been about refs this year. This year alone, I feel like I've always heard about, all right, certain refs are harder to navigate around, or there are certain games that are called tougher, called differently, but it's been consistently a topic that's trending over the season, is that the referees have missed calls. The referees are not held accountable. So now, what do you do with that? It's too blatant, too obvious sometimes for it to just keep going unaddressed. So I think the league is going to make a shift with that. And I'm not saying it's going to happen next year, but down the line, that could be an option. I don't know. You have to change these policies, and the result that just stands because of a couple bad calls here and there. It's unfair to the players and to the organizations that have, been on the court competing. So it makes the product bad,
Definitely real bad. There has to be some type of change, though.
Yeah,
it's got to be some type of change here, whether it's through technology, something, because it's so subjective being a referee. When you're in a position that's so subjective, bias, favoritism, all that stuff plays a role. So, whereas it should be objective, was this a foul, was it not? Right. It's just a travel, was it not? So I wonder sometimes if as technology advances, the NBA can implement more things to reduce the error or reduce the bias. I don't know. But we both agree it's getting out of hand. Clearly the players agree. Clearly they do. So I say just go ahead and start by doing legit reprimands on these referees, so you be encouraged to not do those things and be outwardly about it. So be vocal about it. That's it.
For sure. I feel like you have to put some kind of pressure on them because at the end of the day, they get paid a fair amount to, call, and they can create the landscape of the game. And if at the end of the day, oh yeah, we missed that. Oh yeah, we missed that. Oh yeah, we missed that. What are you doing? Like you can't.
Exactly.
You're in a position, and I 100% understand they have one of the hardest jobs,
Yes, it is.
the very hard job, because you have to like really be attentive. You have to understand the rules. You have to, there's a lot going on, and it's the fastest pace of basketball ever. So
Yeah.
it's very hard, but at the same time, you signed up for the job, so you need to be semi-equipped for the job. If you can't do X, Y, and Z, then you're not meeting the standard. You have to, and you can't. I feel like it kind of sucks because you can't just say I missed it. Oh yeah, I missed that. Like there's a difference. There's a difference. If a player misses a shot, they could lose a game or they could not. But that should be the determining factor, not the referee missed this call when you got smacked the side of the head and couldn't make the layup, but didn't get a foul call, didn't get a chance for free throws. Not even like that makes a difference, but you can get the chance. It's like the chance is what you want. You want the
Right.
chance. So
Yeah.
there has to be some accountability there, like a fine or dock the pay. I don't know. I'm not trying to take it away from anybody's bag, but it's just you gotta do something. You gotta do something.
Like players can be benched for making mistakes. Bench these reps or something, like get them out the rotation more, and I don't know. They need to do something. What to think about that. So we about to start our new series here. We're going to debate the best player in each position of all time. And today, for today's segment, we're focusing on the point guard, which is definitely one of the more. I predict this to be the most controversial, maybe. So we'll give our take. We're also gonna put a poll out there to see what you guys' thoughts are or who you agree with, and we'll come up with the list of the Swish Masters site. It's the best team of all time, basically. What we're putting together all time.
This is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough though.
Oh, okay. Here we go. So point guards, man. We got a lot of great ones over the years, man. And also the position has evolved so much over the years, especially now in this positionless era. But
Yes,
man, for me, man, point guard to me is the leader on the floor. They have the ball in their hands. They make plays. They make shots. And they bring elite play on both ends of the floor. They dictate the flow of the game. When I think of that, when I think of these characteristics, Magic Johnson, and I know this is different. But to me, Magic, in terms of like his impact of what he was able to do, his ability at his size, and just how he played the game, just the passes, you built the no looks, like the look of his game matched how impactful he was in the game. And not only that, he could do so many things on the court. If he needed to, he played center in the finals. You know what I mean? But obviously not all point guards can do that. But his versatility to be able to score, to be able to pass, to be able to defend, rebound, make shots was insane. So I think for me, man, and I know there are some really good point guards that I didn't mention, but Magic Johnson to me might be the best point guard like out there ever. I'm going with Magic.
Good pick. That's a good pick. Just to bring more options out there. It's a short list on the best point guards of all time. Of course, this can include John Stockton is the all-time lead assist leader, and that record may not ever be broken. We also have Oscar Robertson, the original triple-double king. Who's done? We talking about all things on the court. That's the original. All things on the court. We also have CP3, Jason Kidd, of course Steph Curry, Steve Nash, Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. Zeke. Yep.
Yeah. Fire competitor. So literally one of the toughest point guards I've ever seen. Like tough. But for me, I could easily say Magic Johnson too, but to give the people options, here what they pick. I'm leaning towards. I'll make an argument for two players. One argument is for one of the best floor generals besides Magic Johnson I've seen in my lifetime is CP3. Because when CP3 was in his prime, he can definitely lead a team. He's exiting his prime right now, so it's not the same. But CP3 was that dude. And drive, mid-range game on point, 3 points. I mean, he could score in all facets. He's just 3-level scorer. And the defense, that's the main thing I want to bring up, the defense. Chris Paul used to be well-known defensive man, right?
Yeah.
And when I think of point guard, I think of like both ends of the floor. A leader on offense and be able to hold your own on defense. And CP3 was one of the best to do that. The other argument is Oscar Robertson for me, basically like what I said before. While I'm leaning a little bit towards Oscar Robertson, it's because he's actually won before. He actually reached that mark that CP3 hasn't yet.
Yeah.
The CP3 has had some great teams, and as a leader of those teams, he's going to get the blame for the failures as well. So, just like he would have got so much blame, so much credit for the success, and he has experienced blown leads. With those Clippers teams,
unfortunately,
get injuries at critical points, which is unfortunate. So that's why I'm saying my argument for maybe Oscar Robertson.
Big go. Oscar Robertson. I feel like gets underrated because he was
long time ago.
Early days of the league, but yeah, he's the original Mr. Triple Double, and just I've seen some clips of him back in the day. And I was like, this dude was different. Like he was creating modern NBA type moves back in his day. So definitely one of the best point guards of all time for sure.
Yeah.
It's a long list of them, man. But just to name the Big O, Isaiah Thomas, one of the most influential with his handle, with everything he was able to do. One of my favorite point guards, CP3, Jason Kidd. Passing is part of my favorite part of the game. Right. And just like some of the passes that these guys were able to make and just control the flow of the game is crazy. But when I look at Magic and he won. He was a winner for sure.
Yep, he was.
It's just crazy to think how revolutionary his game is when you think about today's game. Now, when you look at it, like 7-footers got handle, bringing the ball up, breaking dudes down the ISO. LeBron also being like point forward, the point forward era, like Magic inspired that, I think.
So. He did. You're right. Yeah. One of y'all, let's see what y'all lean towards. I think they'll probably surprise me and say Steph Curry.
Steph, and I want to. He's up there, man. Like,
no, he's up there. Like,
he's one of
the greatest PGs. He is one of the greatest PGs. But I mean, a point. I think it's mostly because of how we define the point guard. Like, again, we're doing point guards, not like best player of all time. We're just doing it by position here. So make sure y'all get that. Make sure y'all understand that. So, because I think if the argument was who's a better player, people would definitely be up for debate for sure. A lot of people will definitely say Steph. People may say Magic. So, but we're just talking about point guards right now, like position. Who plays a position the best?
Yeah.
Right now, for us, it's between Magic and Big O. I feel like most people would agree with that list. I feel like most people would. It's about they prefer. And Magic does have more awards than Big O. But then again, Big O is the first one to ever average a triple-double. Shows the all-around aspect. But Magic is one of the best passers. But Oscar set people up pretty well too, though.
Oh yeah,
I just gotta watch his highlights. That's all. I just gotta check out his highlights. He's
sure one of the greatest, man. A lot of great point guards to choose from, man. And I hope that everyone watching does let us know let us know who you think is your best point guard of all time.
Is it? Technically, Dame is a part of that list now too, since he's a top 75 player. Russell Westbrook is a top 75 player as well, so he should be on that list. Trying to other players' name. I think Bob Cousy. Mr. P.
I guess.
Mr. P. I'll just name it.
Yeah.
Jerry West. Now, these are some of the top players in the game. That we know of history. So, who y'all think is the best PG? Make sure y'all leave your comments. We'll be putting the poll out there at some point soon too. So make sure y'all answer the poll. Give us your thoughts. We'll be doing a segment on this every week. We'll tackle each position and talk about it while we bring you the latest news and updates in the NBA world. So thank y'all again for your patience. We appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Keep sharing and subscribing. We appreciate y'all. And it's QtheGuru. Oh, real quick. Final Swish stuff. NBA, yeah.
Buzz leader.
Yeah, right. We both share the same Final Swish. We want to make sure we take time to honor an NBA legend that recently passed away. I'm gonna say take it from here.
Yeah, NBA family lost one of the greatest leaders. Gone but not forgotten, man. Shout out to the captain, Willis Reed, one of the greatest Knicks players of all time. Just recently passed this past week, and we do want to remember his memory, and rest in peace to one of the best to ever do it. So, prayers and thoughts with the family and the NBA as well.
That being said, we're out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate you.
See you.